FEMA today has allocated an additional $7 million to Terrebonne Parish to expand its home elevation program. These
No,
funds
honey,
were
this is
provided to
important.
Louisiana as a part of the recovery from Hurricanes Gustav and Ike and will be used to elevate repetitively flooded properties. Applicants will be required to provide at least a 25% match of the total project cost.
See,
FEMA
always a
expects that
catch.
base flood elevation will be increased at least 2 feet. For more information, residents can contact the Parish Recovery Assistance and Mitigation Planning Department at 985-873-6565.
What are you doing?
I'm calling the parish. We live in the floodplain
That's
and
all a racket to shake us down for our money. You should be thanking me for not raising the house last time they changed the flood maps.
we haven't had insurance since.
Insurance? Who needs insurance?
You have to have insurance. Everyone knows that we keep losing our wetlands, the ocean and the salt keeps moving inland. So a property owner who's living below the new base flood elevations have in effect three options. The first is to elevate the structure. The second is relocate it out of the floodplain or to demolish it and just remove it from the community.
The parish is required to enforce our floodplain ordinance. And once you hit the category of substantial damage, which is that your house is flooded to 50% of its value, then it's the job of the parish to require that you elevate, relocate, or demolish your house.
The whole rationale for the involvement of federal, state, and local government is to reduce long-term public costs. All risk cannot be eliminated, and that is one of the reasons why people still need to have flood insurance.
If you don't comply, your insurance rates are going to be quite high. In the past, there has been a grandfathering process, so as long as you were built in compliance at the time that you built, then you've got a break on your insurance. That is going away after the insurance reform of 2012, so people are going to see a significant increase in their rates if they're below the base flood elevation.
Having insurance is the key to federal money to help you restore the property. A lot of the grant programs that are available today are paying virtually the entire cost of home elevation. Not only that, there is additional grant money available to change elements of the structure to bring them into building code requirements. But all of those monies are now increasingly becoming dependent on people having the insurance in place as the key to get that money.
If a homeowner wanted the latest information about their base flood elevation, they would contact Lisa Leday, who is our floodplain manager and the expert in that area.
Property owners in affected areas should contact the Planning and Zoning Permit Office. It's located at 8026 Main Street, Suite 401. This is the Government Tower on the corner of Main and Barrow.
The property owner needs to come into the local permit office and talk to us about what they're intending to do. We actually spend a lot of time helping people to find their way around the grant system to get the best value out of the grant that's available to them.
We do have the Terrebonne Readiness and Assistance Coalition to assist people with all the paperwork and the steps they need to take. They pretty much walk them through the process.
And it's important that they get a permit for everything they do, because that's the only way in years to come that they can prove that the repair work and the restoration has been completed to code, which is the key to getting later grant money if the building gets damaged in another storm.
If you're building a new structure or placing a mobile home or anything, you do have to comply with the FEMA flood maps.
The proposed new maps are available on FEMA's website. They can be viewed through the Terrebonne Parish website. And those maps, which are called the DFIRM maps, the digital flood insurance rate maps, give people a very good idea of the base flood elevation as it will be once the new DFIRM maps are adopted late 2014, early 2015.
Our Terrebonne Parish mitigation program requires DFIRM +1. We do feel people should elevate higher than the required height.
Go a few feet higher, which will insure you against future rate increases in your flood insurance.
To find a contractor to elevate your house, you need to be sure that they are licensed and have the proper insurance and are capable of lifting your house.
We have a list identifying those licensed contractors.
But of course, asking your friends how their jobs turned out, that's really the best.
Usually these contracts are written in plain language and most people can work out what is and isn't included in the price. There is some protection for the homeowner in that we, in granting the permit, do plan reviews. So we check all the documentation, we check that the plans reflect the scope of work for the contract. When somebody comes in to draw a permit, we check for them that that contractor they're choosing is properly licensed with the state. They are experienced in lifting houses. They are experienced with what can and cannot be done with the space underneath a house that's been elevated.
Don't store your Christmas trees under your house. You can donate them to help protect the wetlands.
Once a storm comes and a flood occurs and damage occurs, they do need to come into the office to get a permit to do their repairs. At that time, they will bring us their damage estimate from their insurance company, their elevation certificate, and we will do an assessment to determine if they're substantially damaged or not. If they are substantially damaged, we will issue a letter stating so, that they will then bring to their insurance company to start the ICC claim, which is increased cost of compliance. Currently, that amount is $30,000, and that is to help them mitigate their property.
Most of our money for elevations come as a result of a storm. It's disaster monies, and those monies are spent on people who were damaged in that storm. And there's always a preference for residential properties and primary residences and those properties who are above 50% damage because they're legally required to elevate. So they're always put at the front of the list.
When it comes to business properties, most of the assistance is available in the forms of loans through the Small Business Administration. Those are low interest loans that get money to businesses to get them back in operation to restore the local economy as quickly as possible.
These improvements will help your house withstand the effects of a hurricane, but you and your family will still need to evacuate for your safety when the officials announce to do so.
People who stay trying to protect their houses are often cut off. They don't have water, they don't have electricity, and rescuers have difficulty getting to them. So they're actually putting other people in danger by staying.
It's not as though we're under flood conditions all the while. There are occasional events, there are unusual events, but we all have to be prepared for when they come along.
Making these decisions ahead of time and reducing your risk means when you do evacuate, you can have a peace of mind. You've done all you can for your house, for your belongings. You'll have somewhere to come back home to.
All in all, Jake, could have been a lot worse. The good news is that all the houses that were elevated to FEMA code were spared from flooding. But the poor people in the floodplain who didn't, well, that was the good news. Anyway, in business news, Pork Belly's reached out to an all-time high.
Farewell, bon voyage.